Not stop forever, not give up, not quit everything and disappear, just stop pushing. That is the lived reality of women with carrying chronic illness, dysregulated nervous system. This is physiology down. Hey, Liberator, I'm so glad you're here. I want to start today by asking you something. When was the last time someone actually gave you permission to stop? Not stop forever, not give up, not quit everything and disappear, just stop pushing. Because if you're like me, and if you're like the thousands of women I've walked alongside and had the honor to, you've probably been told your whole life that pushing through is just what strong women do. Hustle culture, boss babe. That showing up even when you're running on empty is something to be proud of. The rest is for when the work is done. Have you ever told yourself, I'll sleep when I'm dead? And you believed it. I believed it too for a really long time. And it cost me more than I knew. So if you've been told just to push through, I want you to know that this episode is the episode that you didn't know you needed. I want to paint a picture for you. Stay right here with me for a second. Imagine you finished a marathon, 26.2 miles. Your legs are done. Your lungs are done. They're on fire. Your body is begging you to lie face down and on that finish line and never, ever move again. But instead of being allowed to rest, you finish this race, somebody hands you a backpack, and the backpack is full of bricks. And they say, okay, great. Now go to work. Be cheerful, take care of the kids, answer the emails, make dinner, smile, you look fine. And stop talking about how tired you are, because honestly, everybody's tired. That's not hypothetical, that's your Tuesday. That is the lived reality of women with carrying chronic illness. Unprocessed trauma or nervous system that has been running on overdrive for months, years, or even decades. And the wild thing, the absolutely maddening thing, is that you've gotten so good at carrying those bricks that people around you don't even know you're doing it. You look fine, right? Today, we're going to talk about what is actually happening underneath I'm fine. We're going to name it. We're going to understand it. And then, this is the part that I love the most. I'm going to give you 3 small, really actionable, doable things that you can start doing this week to begin to change it. Not an overhaul, not a 30-day hard plan that you'll abandon by Thursday. Just 3 honest little steps. Let's go. So I want to introduce you to something that I call the survival loop. Now, this isn't a clinical term. It's in a language that I use to describe what happens when your body gets stuck in a state of low-grade emergency. And I want to explain this as plainly as I know how, because here's what I've learned. When a woman truly understands what her body is doing and everything and why, everything shifts. It goes from what's wrong with me to, oh, that actually makes sense. When you work with me as a coach, I'm not going to tell you anything you don't already know. But I'm going to help you do something you've never done before and understand why. That's the key missing piece to all of the yo-yo and roller coasters you've been on. You don't know why. And the why helps. So here's the foundation. Your body has a built-in alarm system. It's called fight or flight response. And it's brilliant. It literally is there to save your life. When your brain perceives a threat, it signals a cascade of stress hormones, primarily cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate speeds up, your muscles tense, digestion slows down, and your immune system shifts. Your whole body goes into all hands on deck, ready to run, fight, or freeze. This system is not your enemy. It's a gift. And for moments of real immediate danger, it literally has saved thousands of human lives over the years. The system was designed to do one specific thing: turn on for a short amount of acute crisis, and then turn off when the danger passes. On, then off. Spike, then recovery. Alarm, then calm. But what happens when the danger doesn't pass? What happens when you grew up in a home where you always had to be on guard, where love was conditional and chaos was constant, and you learned early that your job was to manage everybody else's emotions just so you can feel safe? Or what happens when your body starts attacking itself? When every day brings a new symptom, a new appointment, a new fear, When the thing threatening you isn't a predator that you can run from, it's the illness living inside you. Or when the grief, the stress, the loneliness, the pressure, it never fully lifts. What happens when the alarm gets stuck? Not screaming 5-alarm fire stuck, just quiet, chronically on. A low-grade hum of something might be wrong, so stay ready. A body that never fully gets the signal that it's okay to come down off a high alert. That survival loop it's an exhausting way in the way sleep can't fix chronic exhaustion, because you can't rest your way out of a nervous system that believes emergency is still happening. Now, let me tell you how this actually shows up, because I want you to recognize yourself here. And if you recognize yourself in any of these, let us know. Number 1, exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. You sleep 8 hours and wake up depleted. Just exhausted. Everything hurts. Everything feels kind of ugh. You drag yourself through the day. You lie down at night and you either can't fall asleep because your brain won't stop, or you fall asleep instantly and still wake up exhausted. People say you should get more rest, and you want to laugh or cry because rest doesn't seem to touch it. It's not laziness. It's the nervous system that can't fully power down. Number 2, do you see yourself here? Brain fog that makes you feel like you're failing. Words disappear mid-sentence. Happens to me all the time. You walk into a room with no idea why. You read the same paragraph 4 times. You know that you used to be sharp and you used to think clearly and be funny and keep up. And now you feel like you're thinking through wet cement. That's not cognitive decline. It's chronic cortisol dysregulation affecting your prefrontal cortex. Your brain isn't broken. Good news, but it's overloaded. All right. Number 3, do you see yourself here? The emotional numbness. Like you just kind of feel flat, like someone let the fizz out of your water. Not quite sad, not anxious, just flat. Like someone turned the dimmer switch on your emotions way down. Things that used to bring you joy don't spark anything. You go through the motions, you perform okay for people around you while you're feeling on the inside like you're watching your own life from a distance. This is emotional dysregulation, born from a system that has used up its reserves. You're not dead inside. Good news, you're depleted. Now, underneath all of this, there's a lie that keeps running the loop. A very loud, very convincing lie that most of us have never even questioned. And it sounds like this. If I rest, I'm failing. If I rest, I'm falling behind. I'll never catch up. Can we sit with that for a moment? Because I want you to hear how deeply absurd that actually is. Even though I know it doesn't feel absurd. But for a lot of us, it feels like the truest thing that we know. Where does this lie come from? For many of us, it came from childhood. We learned early, maybe explicitly, maybe just by watching, that love and safety were contingent on performance. You earned your place by being helpful, by being productive, by being low maintenance, and never needing too much. Rest meant you were lazy. Needs meant that you were a burden. And you also learned to keep going, even when you were running on fumes, because stopping felt dangerous. For some of us, it came from church. And I say this with all great love and zero shade toward faith, because my faith is the bedrock of my life. But somewhere along the way, we took this beautiful, true call to sacrifice and service, and we twisted into my needs don't matter. Self-care is selfish. Suffering makes me holy. Pouring from an empty cup is just what good women do. And for some of us, it came from culture. A culture that glorifies the hustle, hands out gold stars for the most exhausted person in the room, and has made "I'm so busy" a status symbol. Here's what I want you to hear. I'm not throwing shade on hard work, at sacrifice, or showing up even when it's hard. Those things are good and real and sometimes necessary. But they were never, not once, meant to be used as weapons against your own body. Matthew 11, verse 28 says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." I need that. on a consistent basis. Jesus did not say, come to me once you've earned it. Once you've hit that next rank, once you've finished the project, once you've earned so much, once you've done all the things for everybody else. He didn't say, come to me when you're perfectly strong. He said, now, weary, burdened, come as you are. The lie that rest equals failure is not God's voice. And it is absolutely scientifically making your illness worse. Let's jump into the science a little bit. Because I believe that when you understand the why behind what's happening in your body, you can stop blaming yourself for it. And that's a whole nother thing we need to get into. And stopping the blame might be the most healing thing that happens today. So here we go. Here's the sciencey stuff. Okay, so there's a system in your body called the HPA axis. It stands for hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. I know, mouthful. You know me in hard words, big words. But here's what you need to know. Let's make it simple. The HPA axis is your body's master stress command center. Your hypothalamus deep in your brain detects stress and sends a signal to your pituitary glands, which sends a signal down to your adrenals, two small but mighty glands sitting right on top of your kidneys. They release cortisol. That's the stress hormone that you've probably heard about. And in a healthy functioning system, the whole cascade turns on, does its job, and turns off. The rhythm matters as much as the hormone. Cortisol is not your villain. Cortisol in healthy rhythms is actually essential. And it wakes you up in the morning, it regulates inflammation, and gives you the energy to respond to challenge. Cortisol working correctly is a gift. But when the HPA axis has been dysregulated, when it's running on overdrive for months or years, or even the off switch isn't working properly, the whole system breaks down. Dysregulated cortisol affects literally everything. Sleep quality, energy, digestion, immune function, thyroid function, blood sugar stability, hormone balance, cognitive clarity, mood regulation. And when your cortisol rhythm is off, your entire body knows it. Does this sound familiar? This is why chronic stress doesn't make you feel stressed. It makes you physically measurably sick. It's not all in your head. It's in your chemistry, in your cells, and in your inflammation markers. Bad news for my chronic illness girlies. Chronic illness amplifies this loop. So here's what makes this especially important for women managing autoimmune conditions like chronic pain, fibromyalgia, lupus, thyroid disease, Hashimoto's, or any other complex health condition. Your body is already spending enormous resources on managing your illness. Layer chronic unresolved stress on top of that, and you're asking the body to finish a marathon to immediately sprint into another one every single day. No finish line. No wonder we're exhausted. The math just doesn't math. Okay, now, the piece that I really need you to hear, the one that took me the longest to accept. No matter how hard I tried, you cannot willpower your way out of a dysregulated nervous system. I'll say it one more time because I know how deep this goes for some of us. You cannot motivate yourself past biology. You can't discipline your hormones back into balance, and you can't just decide to feel better through sheer force of will. That is not a character flaw. This is not weakness. This is not a lack of faith, a lack of discipline, a lack of gratitude, or a lack of trying hard enough. Lord knows we try. This is physiology. And physiology requires strategy, not shame. Your body is not broken. It has been bracing for a very, very long time. And bracing is exhausting work. Relentless, invisible, thankless work. The fact that you're still standing and showing up, still trying, that's not weakness. That's remarkable, extraordinary strength. But it's time, past time to put the armor down. Okay, so you know what the survival loop is now. And you understand what it's doing to your body, and you understand why it's not your fault. And I want to say something before we get into the practical piece. Just the fact that you're still here, that you've watched this far, that you've taken even a small step towards understanding your own body, this is already the beginning of something different. Awareness is the first step of healing, so don't underestimate it. I also know that awareness without action stays stuck in your head. So I want to give you 3 micro actions, small, gentle, actually doable this week, that start sending your nervous system a new message. And the message is simply this: it's okay. You're safe. You can ease up now. So if you've made it this far, drop an alignment in action down in the comments so I know right where we are. The number one thing that you can do is the 5-minute pause. Once a day, just once. It's going to feel really weird. I want you to set a timer on your phone, put the phone in the kitchen, and go do something else. Set a timer, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and do absolutely nothing that produces anything. Sit outside if you can, your feet in the grass, get your eyes and your face in the sun. Breathe. No phone, no podcast, no scrolling, no productivity, no multitasking. Just 5 minutes of being a human being instead of a human doing. I know this sounds both simple and terrifying. Do it anyway. This is not laziness. This is nervous system medicine. A great thing to do in your 5 minutes is to also hum or press right here in your ear. That part that, when you clean your ears with not toothpicks, with Q-tips and you're not supposed to, that's why. That you're pushing on this nerve right here in your ear, and that's what feels so good. Don't stick it in, just right here, right on the outside of your ear. Your body will know the difference, even when your brain argues with you. All right, number 2 that you can do this week: protein first in the morning. Before the coffee, before the emails, before you do a single thing for anybody else, I want you to eat protein within the first 30 to 45 minutes of waking up, and 30 grams at that. Whole food protein if possible. Here's why it matters. Cortisol naturally spikes early in the morning. If you skip eating or you're eating something high in sugar or refined carbs, the cortisol spike goes unchecked and your blood sugar crashes, and your body reads that crash as stress, and you trigger more cortisol. And then you send your nervous system into a mild survival mode before you've even checked your phone. Some ideas: eggs, Greek yogurt, protein balls, protein patties, a protein shake, last night's leftovers. It doesn't have to be Instagram worthy. It just has to be protein. So, my philosophy: take a nap, eat a snack, and this starts with breakfast. All right. Your number 3 tactical thing that you can use this week: say one no this week. Not a life-changing no, not a burn it all down. No, just a small no. Find something on your plate this week, one request, one obligation, one thing that you said yes to while your inside screamed no, and practice the gentle, clear decline. You don't need a long explanation. You don't owe anyone a novel-length apology. You can say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make that work this week. Full sentence, complete thought, no elaboration required. Every single time you honor no, you're sending a message to your nervous system: my needs are valid. I am worthy of protecting. And slowly, not all at once, but slowly, the loop begins to loosen. So before I let you go today, I want to leave you with something to sit with. Pull out your journal. This is something that you can do repeatedly. You don't have to answer it right now, but I want to plant it somewhere in you where you can do some quiet work. Here's your question: what am I pushing through that I actually need to put down? What am I pushing through that I actually need to put down? Write about it. Don't try to solve it. Don't try to figure out how to put it down, whether you're allowed to. Just name it, because you can't release what you don't acknowledge. And just naming it is a form of courage. If nothing comes to mind right away, don't worry. Sometimes the survival loop keeps us so numb that we can't even feel what we're carrying anymore. That's exactly what the survival mode audit is for. And I'm going to tell you about that right now. So let's land this plane. Today, we've talked about the survival loop: what it is, how it gets triggered, how it shows up in your body as exhaustion, brain fog, and emotional flatness that nobody around you can see. We also talked about the HPA axis and cortisol dysregulation, and why your body being in the state is not a character flaw. It's not faith failure. It's not weakness. It's your body's nervous system doing the job it was trained to do in the absence of a signal that it's finally safe to rest. And we talked about 3 small, real things that you can do beginning this week. You can do them today that send that signal to begin starting to work. The 5-minute pause, protein first, and an honest no. Small steps, big hope. I promise every ripple causes a change. Now, I have something for you, and I want you to actually use it. I built a free resource called the Survival Mode Audit. It's a quick 5-minute self-check that walks you through exactly where you are in the survival loop right now. What's overactivated, what's depleted, and where the most important place to actually start is. This is not a quiz that spits out some vague results and tries to sell you something. It's a real tool. And it was designed for women exactly like you. Women who are carrying more than you know and more than you deserve. Is what you deserve more is clarity instead of more confusion. So the link is right below this video. Download it, sit with it, do it this week. And then please come back and tell me in the comments what you found. I read them. I respond when I can. And I know that your story matters to this community. So we can realize we're not alone. And if this episode hit something deeper than you expected, if you found yourself nodding along or getting quiet or thinking, she's talking about me, I want you to know that there's a next step for you. It's called the 90-day breakthrough. The 90-day breakthrough is my guided program for women who are done surviving and really ready to start healing. In the 90 days, we dig deeper and dive into everything we touched on today: the nervous system, the patterns, the beliefs, the habits, the faith, the community. And we do it with science-backed strategies, biblical encouragement, and a group of women who understand invisible struggle in a way that most people in your life simply cannot. This program was built for my own journey. For years, I spent pushing through lupus and trauma and loss, convinced that strength never meant stopping. Until I finally learned that there was a different way. And I want that different way for you. There's also a link for the 90-day breakthrough for all the support. No pressure, no rush. But if something in you said yes, it's not an accident. Trust it. Thank you for being here with me today. Genuinely, thank you. If this episode helped you, would you do me a favor and share it with one woman, your sister, your best friend, your coworker who's always on fire, but she can't see it? Send it to her because she needs to hear this too. And maybe she's not going to find it on her own. So, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, leave a comment, give this video a like. It sounds small, but it tells the algorithm to show this to more women who need it. And every woman who finds her way here matters. And as always, go out and liberate your awesome.